Okay, welcome to the first panel discussion. This is a subject actually that's very, very close to my heart. How many here are Malaysian women? Proud and strong? And how many are not from Malaysia? Okay, but I think there's one thing that we have in common, right? We always face sexual harassment or gender discrimination from the time we're in school, being told that, no, a girl cannot do this one not for girls. You know, to the time when we're working as well. Oh, no, yeah, he's paid more than you. He's got a family, he's got children to feed. You know, so even when we travel as well, we face that sort of treatment sometimes. So I'm not going to be speaking about it today. I'm going to be moderating from these three wonderful women who are here. Let me introduce them to you if you have not read about them yet. Okay, so we have three experienced travelers. They're going to be sharing their experiences, their horror stories as well. And if you do have questions, there will be a quick Q&A, if time permits, before we break for lunch. Now, we have panel member number one, Jin from Korea. How are you, Jin?
I'm good.
Okay. Jin and I were communicating via Skype before that. She's like, I have to memorize half an hour speech. I said, don't memorize.
Thank you for saying that.
Like, don't worry, speak from the heart, No worries. Now, Jin, she's a cycling traveler. I mean, yeah, you can see she's quite fit, right? She cycles everywhere. Something that I cannot do, even though I have a lot of padding in my rear side. But after a while, it's like, oh, okay. All right, so Jin has cycled over 62,000 kilometers, over 64 countries.
Yeah, almost like that.
Yeah, about 67 countries, 62,000 kilometers. You've also been hit by a car.
A few times.
Yeah, a few times.
Yeah.
Here, not yet rempit, not yet hit into you. No.
Not yet.
Do you do Superman like them as well? Do you also like, okay bro, aku pun boleh buat? No, not yet do the Superman. Okay, maybe can learn new trick from rempit. Yeah. Okay, and you've also been sexually harassed while you're cycling. Of course, you know, pretty young woman cycling, for sure kena. But the memories and friendships that you built on these travels, that's the one that you hold closest to your heart, right? Okay, final number two. I'm not going to try pronouncing your first name because I've always been calling you by your second name anyway. Elif, okay. So Elif and I and Pris actually met up in KL to talk about and discuss what our session afterwards at 3:30 is going to be about. She told us some horror stories, which I'm sure she'll be sharing with you as well today. Now, Elif is from Turkey. She's traveled to over 30 countries. She's lived in 6 of them, okay? And Elif says, the more you travel, the more you realize that you know so little, and the more you want to learn. I think we all agree with that. And Elif also will be telling you about how it is, especially as a foreigner, okay, how you can be targeted more where sexual harassment is concerned compared to local women. And then we have Petrina, diver dumpster, is it? Is that like... Okay, so first there's hashtag digital nomad, now hashtag diver dumpster. Okay, so Petrina's from Malaysia. I love her blue hair. One day, she just decided she's going to go to Stockholm with $200 in your pocket, that's it. And her challenge was, this is like some fear factor challenge, okay, like, how long can you last with $200 in your pocket? So she did it lah, and she discovered it's 3 months. After that, kena korek lah and cari, you know. So she's going to be talking about that as well. You can survive for 3 months, and then you became broke. You started sleeping in petrol stations. You started hitchhiking your way back to this country. You had to escape indecent drivers. Yeah. So you'll be sharing all of that stories as well, and like Jin as well. It's actually it took her 13 months to come back to Malaysia, going through 22 countries, right? But she finally made it, and it was also the kindness of strangers, as you put it, actually, that helped you get through. Yep. Are there any of them Facebook friends right now with you still?
A few, not many, but yeah.
Okay,
only
not
the
many.
ones that I really cherish.
Yeah. Friend, but mute. Not your friends. I do that with some. Okay. All right. I have 5 questions that I'm going to ask each of you. So we're going to start with you, Elif. Question number 1. What was the most, I can't say the word memorable actually, but of all the incidences where sexual harassment happened to you as a female traveler, which one sticks to your mind?
Hello everyone, hello again. I think it's the one in India because it was one of the times I felt really safe because I went to India with an internship. It's a student organization, everyone knows it, and then I was also doing volunteering, and so I felt really safe in my office because when I was there, I went there with an international organization and everything. But because of a couple of Bollywood movies and there's a mentality in India, if you're a foreigner woman, it means that you are done to do anything. And my boss there, who was like 40 years older than me, he started texting me every
And how
every
old
night.
were you at that time?
21.
21, yeah.
Yeah, and he started texting me every night because I was in Ahmedabad, Gujarat, which is a dry state. And he would be like, I know how much foreigner girls love their liquor. I have alcohol in my house, I can just pick you up now. And he would text me like, hey, I'm in front of your house, come. And the company is paying for the house, so he might have the keys and he might just come up, and he would be texting at midnight and everything. And that's when I realized that I came here with an international organization. I feel extremely safe, right? But he knew that I was all alone. So he actually couldn't get to physically sexually harass me because I took a caution, and at the end, I was going to stay for 6 months with that company. I left after 4. But I also wrote a couple of emails. That turns out he is one of the Brahmins from the highest caste, so I couldn't even call the police. So I had to change my house and my location for that and leave the company. But the scary thing that if I didn't do anything, I was in a place that I was feeling so safe. But this guy with so much power and money had my keys to my house, and he was just texting me because he thought that just because I'm a foreigner and just because I drink, I was just going to go to his house and enjoy his company. Yeah.
And also, when you had moved, you moved in with a few other girls, but then being the only foreigner in that area, every morning when you left for work, all these local boys would be waiting outside her gate, waiting for her to come out. Yeah. In India, they are known as gundas. Okay, so basically they are these guys who basically have nothing better to do than to engage themselves in something called eve teasing. You go to India, you speak to any woman over there, they'll tell you what eve teasing is about.
Yeah, and it's not like I lived in Mumbai or Delhi. I lived in Ahmedabad, so there were like 2 foreigners maybe tops. So
it's not like you can blend in.
Yeah, exactly.
But we'll get to how you managed to blend in after that, which sounds like it came out of a script of a Bollywood film, and I'll make sure she shares that with you afterwards. And how about you, Petrina? Of all, the countries that you went through, the places that you went through, the things that you had to do, what was the one incident, which involves sexual harassment that still sticks in your mind?
Yeah, honestly, the whole time you were talking, I couldn't really pay attention because it was just playing in my mind, and I was just thinking about whether to say it or not because I've never told this story in public.
Okay. So I would respectfully request that nobody records this part then, because it's kind of personal, private. Please share.
Okay, so I was in Turkey.
Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah.
I have
so
one
sorry.
age. I have one age in Turkey.
Oh yeah, you're one of Turkey as well. Yeah, so I was walking around in Turkey, and then after that, by myself, obviously, this person comes along. He was Turkish, and then he just started talking to me. So he seemed normal, as most of them do. So we're just chilling out the whole day, walking around. He was showing me around town. We went for food, spend the day together, just pretty normal. And then at night, he was just like, hey, I need to go back to the room to just like grab something. Can you follow me up? And I was like, yeah, okay, sure. So I followed him up to the room, and then he bought some beers and stuff, and then he was just like, here, have a drink. And I was like, no, it's okay, I'm fine. So when I sat down just at like the edge of the bed, he came, and then he just put his arm around me, and I immediately pushed him away. And I was just like, no, I try and put on my shoes. When I put on my shoes and went to the door, he ran to the door, and he blocked in front, and he just held me, and I was just like, oh shit, no. And he's just like, where are you going? You're not going anywhere. And I was just like, no man, I didn't come here for this. I just came here to accompany you to get your stuff. And that's when he just like, I tried to push him off, obviously couldn't. He was like stouter and bigger. So then that's when he just like grabbed me, picked me up, threw me on the bed. And so I was just down there, and I was just, I walked right in a rape situation. How could I be so stupid? So he was just like there, and he was holding me down, and I was just like, please, 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 no, I really don't want this. Can you please just chill out? And he was like, obviously you want this. You came back to the room with me. Obviously you want this, and not that you wouldn't have. And I was like, man, you patriarchal, no. So it seemed like yesterday's situation. The first thing that comes to my mind is to pacify the thing. So after a while, I was just, okay, fine. You know what? Let's have a cigarette first, and then after that we can have sex. And then that's when he leans back, he lights his cigarette, he lights my cigarette, and he leans back. That's when I run out and I open the door and I scream. He tries to grab me, but because I scream really loud, and I think you can hear like the fear in my voice, that everyone in the hotel just came out running. And then, yeah, so then he let go, and then I went off, and then he just started yelling, you fuck off, you whatever, and I was, so that was a thing where I didn't tell anyone for ages. And I blamed myself for the longest time, like, oh, I'm so stupid, you should have known better, you should have followed him back, it's all your fault, la 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 la. And I realized that's what females do all the time, like we blame ourselves when it's
We've
really
been conditioned to blame ourselves. It's got to be your fault, you know? Yeah, it has to be your fault. What were you wearing? What did you say? Did you wear too much makeup? You know, it always comes back to the women.
Like the time I told her when I was in India, I went to the doctor, and it's like a woman who speaks English and everything, right? She was helping me with a couple of stuff, and I said, yeah, this happened, like this guy was about to do this to me, because I use pepper spray, and no one tells you that pepper spray just ruins everyone's life around like 2 meters, right? And I'm crying, and I had like a couple of patches, and she was like, yeah, but what were you thinking? You came to India alone. Like, and she's a female doctor who said that to me. She was almost like, yeah, why? It's almost like I came here to get sexually harassed, you know? And that was the mentality. She didn't even let me be a victim of the situation. And the guy was a victim because I came. And in Turkey, my friends came to visit me. Because I was saying, yeah, Turkey, like they say stuff, but they don't sexually harass you. When my Italian friends came, I did realize that there is also foreigner girl thing there going on, because they are just considering, you're a foreigner, you are from West, you are from Asia, it means you are kinky. So they just try to get their own way with the foreigners there as well, you know.
Horrifying. Don't get scared of traveling, huh? We're just sharing the stories, you know, so that later you will know, like, okay, what to do if you're ever in that situation as well. Okay, Jin. Cycling everywhere.
Yeah.
And you've been harassed while you cycle through all these different countries, 60 over countries. What's the one incident that sticks to your mind the most?
Actually, I'll tell about one story. I get overcome, but I just tell what happened. The most dangerous situation happened in the most one of the safest country. It was in Finland. I was cycling in the winter. Everywhere snow. I really loved it. But then I cannot sleep outside, so I always knock the people's house. Can I set up my tent at your garage? And people always invite me. I love Finnish people so much. I really love Finland because people are so kind to me. And so it's very usual that every night I sleep at people's house. And Finnish love sauna, yeah. And so I always have a sauna as well. And one time, I knocked the door, and the old guy came out, and we couldn't communicate because he couldn't speak English. And he was a bit weird from the beginning, and he prepared sauna for me, very common in Finland. But then I inside, and I hear that he opened the door, but he couldn't see me. I just, hey, I'm inside, don't open, don't open. And it was fine. And later, he prepared dinner, and then I had dinner. He didn't poison anything. But I couldn't feel safe, and then usually after 9, they show me where to sleep. But he didn't show me where to sleep, and I asked, do I sleep there? And then he was a bit angry, or like he was shouting something, and I didn't feel safe at all. It was my first year almost, and this is my first time. My heart was so beating too much, and I was thinking, what to do? If I stay here, there must be something happen. Then I decided to run away. So, but it was outside. It's -20. It's crazy cold. If you just go out and then cycle, you will lose all fingers after 10 minutes. So I take my clothes, some jacket, winter jacket, but I couldn't take my gloves. But anyway, I just said, oh, I have something, we couldn't come again. And then I just run away to my bicycle. And then I went to main road, where a car passing, and I hitchhiked, I just thumbs up, 10 minutes, and then some trucks stop, and I asked, please, can you call the police? Something is happening, and I need the police help. And the police came. And then I told the situation, and then I was in police car, and police took all my luggage from his house. And so nothing happened. So lucky that nothing happened. And then at the night, I slept in jail because it was
But it's the safest place.
It was free.
Yes.
It was free.
Free, yes.
Free.
Safe. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that was the scariest, the memory. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So on to the second question. Did it put you off traveling for a while? Elif, after India, okay, we'll get to how you blended in later.
Yeah.
But after that happened, and there were a few other experiences as well where you felt like, oh my God, this country is really not safe. But did it put you off going back to India? Did you have to take a break from traveling for a while because you felt that I'm a woman, this is not safe?
To be honest, it did the opposite, because I was just like, okay, so this happened here, let me see the other city, what is going on there? And then, okay, every city, there's in every country there's sexual harassment, the men are kind of weird and horny. So it didn't stop me from anything, I just kept traveling. But after 6 months, I needed to decide my next destination, and that's when I decided for New York. So I was like, maybe I had enough of this part a little bit, and go to New York now and see a little bit of a different culture. But then I came back to India again, and it's one of my favorite countries. I would definitely live there. And,
so it didn't put you off?
No.
It's just that now you know the signs to look out for?
Yeah,
right?
exactly. And even if you feel like it's a safe situation, safe organization, everything, now I know that I should always have a, one eyebrow up, we say in Turkey, questioning always, is everything okay? Am I safe? Yeah.
Excellent. And what about you, Petrina?
No, definitely not, because these situations are still, it only happens once in a while. So I know that if I were to stop right after a crappy thing happens, then that's my last memory of the whole beautiful traveling experience. So if one really horrible thing happens, it's just like, no, it's okay, you know what? It happened, continue, and by continuing is the best way to get over it. So yeah.
But did you wake up sometimes at night? Because when a woman feels like she's either violated or almost violated, you sometimes have nightmares. I don't know whether I've been through this before, and I used to wake up for about 6 to 7 months. Someone was trying to break into my house, and I used to sleep downstairs in my living room because I was so afraid that somebody was going to break in. And I used to wake up at night, having nightmares that this person actually managed to break into my house. So did you ever have any, did you dream of the old man shouting at you in your dream in Finnish?
I overcome, yeah.
Okay.
Then I don't dream anymore.
You didn't feel slightly traumatized? Did you feel really angry though?
I just had trouble sleeping the next few nights, because every time I closed my eyes, I could see his evil eyes, and I just,
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, but after that, it was fine.
Okay. What
I
about
had
you?
a couple of nightmares too. It is always I wake up feeling so trapped, and I realize I always took myself to the wall.
Mm-hmm.
So I get to that physical position when I'm sleeping, and in the dream it is the guy pushing me towards the door or something, and I wake up, it's always okay, no, I'm in the house and everything. And I had to buy extra locks to my room outside of the, because I didn't know who can open the door of the house. So my room, extra keys and everything, so that made me maybe sleep better.
Okay.
Yeah.
How did you take care of yourself at the petrol station? Petrol station, Doors are open.
Yeah, and in
I'm
the
assuming you're talking about the restrooms.
as in when I sleep.
Yeah.
No, actually in the beginning I didn't even have a tent. I just had a sleeping bag. Pretty much the walls here. I'll just sleep.
On the outside.
Yeah,
And did you not worry that somebody would come?
I did.
Like, did you have
but
to sleep with a penknife under your
I
head?
actually had no weapons on me because I feel that might just work against me.
Okay.
But yeah, no, I just slept and prayed and hoped that no one will come and disturb me. And so far, thankfully, no one did. But yeah, I was pretty much out in the open.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And what about you, Jin? Sleeping in people's homes? Okay. First, you didn't have any nightmares of this old man?
So my case is a few times I got sexually harassed. So usually what happens is that I'm cycling and then some guy on a motorcycle touched my butt, grabbed my butt, and we moving together. That was my first sexual harassing, and then I shouted like I was so angry. And there's one funny thing that all this guy who touching my butt, grabbed my butt, always smiling at me, dirty smile all the time. I don't understand why they give me dirty smile. I'm so angry and I shouted, and actually I cried all the time. I cried so badly all the time, and you know, sometimes people ask me, so did you get hurt physically? No, but I don't know, I cried all the time because my soul was ruined, destroyed.
It's the frustration.
Yeah.
What a lot of people don't realize is women don't just cry because they're sad. They can also cry when they're very angry, when they're enraged, when they're frustrated. It's not just about, oh, you broke my heart. It's not about that. Yeah. There are many reasons why we can cry.
And all the time, actually, I post it on my page. I want to share with the people. Don't do this. This is not good. And then for a few days, I'm very depressed, actually. I don't want to eat. So for a few days, like first day, I cried. And next day, I'm still tearful. All the time, just actually grabbing my butt. That's really hurt me even. But then after a few days, I got better and better, and I don't dream it anymore. That's how I overcome, actually. Yeah.
Okay. So now we get to the next part, which is what do you do now? Like, okay, for you, Elif, in the beginning, being a foreigner, light skin, light hair, people know, yeah. So how did you blend in? I know, but tell them how you had to blend in to make sure that they didn't see you.
So I moved in with a couple of local girls, and they had amazing stories. One of them ran away from her village because she got married to arranged marriage to another guy. They didn't let her marry the guy she loves because he was a Muslim, and the other guy was in love with another girl. So he would always come home with the girl he loves, and she would sleep on the sofa, the wife. And the parents were like, you cannot get divorced, it's not a thing. And he would beat her and everything. So she ran away, and she was studying marketing while she was living with me in a university, and she was just working at the same time. She also stole the money from the wedding, and she was like, I feel horrible about it. I was like, no, don't. So he deserved that. So this how she was living there, and the other girl was from Kerala. She also had to like fight to study in university, and like the living conditions was bad. I think I showed you a couple of pictures. Like our house was really, really nasty, but they were so helpful. They were trying to teach me Bollywood dancing movies, like, you know, those moves. And then they also realized that those guys were waiting for me outside every morning. And they were saying, Gori, Gori, Gori. And I was like, what is Gori? And they were like, it means female, foreigner female. And they started teaching me how to dress up like them, and they were teaching me all the way they cover themselves so they don't get tanned. So I was covering myself like that, and they were teaching me a couple of words in Hindi. So when I would go to a tuk-tuk or something, they would try to always tourist bargain when I would just speak in their language. So they were like, oh, okay, maybe her father or her mother is Indian, because I'm not that white, so maybe that's why. So they would be a bit off, you know, they would stay off. But I started to blend in more the way I'm dressing and everything, so that helped me a lot. And those girls were really my best friends, so they would always watch out for me, like walk next to me if the crowd is too crowded. Yeah.
And what about you, Petrina? What are the precautions that you take now?
I don't know if I have any, but I noticed my dressing changed a little bit. In the beginning, I would say my dressing while I was hitchhiking was very irresponsible. I would still wear shorts and sleeveless and all that. But then after that, I just progressively make myself look as least attractive as I can. So I just wear like really ugly, horrible, baggy clothes, and I'll wrap up my hair.
You look like you didn't shower for 3 days.
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay.
That, it. Not sure if it helps at all, but yeah, I just try to just look my worst. Yeah.
So the defense mechanism is to repel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because sometimes in India, people even thought I was a guy because I had a turban on and I just wore like a shirt and like loose pants and everything. So when I went on the female train, they were like, hey, woman, and I was just like, only then I took it off to show that I'm female so that I could get on the train.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah, because in India they have female coaches only.
Yeah.
Which they have here now, but yeah, we still have some issues with men still trying to get in here. Okay, and Jin, what are the precautions? Okay, do you wear something now at the back with needles or pins so that when they touch
I wish, and then they cannot smile again.
Are there any engineers in the house? Maybe you can design one, you know, like a
Please, they always go to
spiky
my
cycle wear.
Or electrocuted.
Yes, electrocuted. That's good. They get tasered when they touch your bum, like.
And then
Yes.
I smile.
Yes. Okay, maybe if anybody has a startup, you can talk to Jin after this. You know, maybe Dato' Marina, we can get funding from somewhere, you know. Okay, all right. Now, I have this question now. What would be your go-to move if you were harassed? Now, I've got a few different situations here on a plane. Anybody ever traveled on a plane long distance and you're stuck next to a guy who really can't keep his hands to himself? But you've heard of stories where there are guys who can't keep their hands to themselves and you're stuck and you're in economy and you want to change the seat and you tell the stewardess or the steward and they say, sorry ma'am, the flight is full. And you can't change any, there's no other seats that you can change though. So on a plane, if some guy tries to get funny with you, what would you do?
Well, since it is a public place, I would assume that they are not going to get really aggressive. And these kind of people are mostly, if you face them and if you say something direct to them, they back off. Like if you go to the stewardess and be like, hey, this guy is bothering me, can you help me? That's not the way to go, because if you take all the eyes around you to him, he's going to stop. Like that's what happened to me in train, and I would turn and say like, hey, you are touching me, don't do it. And if it doesn't work, I would call the stewardess and just in front of everyone I would say it loudly, because it's a public place, he cannot get aggressive there. Right. So I think that would back him off. But my strategy would be different if it's a street. So yeah, this is for only airplanes and public places.
Okay. For Petrina, on a train, what if somebody was trying to get funny with you on a train?
Because I've come to notice that when it comes to myself, I really don't make a scene, even if I think that's the best thing to do. Like it would take a lot before I'm like ah. So I think my first move would just be to move away or like try and go to another seat first, and then if he does follow or whatever, then yeah, because it's public, I wouldn't be too afraid. I would just yell back at him or tell someone close by. Yeah.
I'm assuming you've been on a boat at some
Yeah.
point with your bicycle.
Yeah, sure.
So what if somebody was trying to be funny with you on a boat or a ship or a ferry?
Actually, it happened seriously in Egypt. So I took ferry from Sudan to Egypt. There's a land, but I must take a ferry to cross the border. And one guy grabbed my leg.
Oh, not your bum, this time your foot.
Yeah,
Okay.
different, yeah.
I think her skin must be very, very soft as well. It's like, I'm going to try and grab her arm after this. Okay,
And I
grab
ju-
your foot.
And I just shout, yeah! I have very bad temper when they grab me or something. I have very bad temper. And so even if with other place, public place, I say, don't do it. But it depends, because sometimes I'm confused. It's by mistake or on purpose, then I cannot shout.
Right.
But it's on purpose, I must say, and or I just scream out. And I don't like verbally sexual harassing. When I travel in Latin America and Africa, I must hear every day kissing sound and hey baby, hey sweetie.
Mamacita.
Oh, don't do it, don't do it. I hate. Some knows. I hear that 50 times a day for a year in Latin America. I love Latin people. I want to make sure. But I really hate it. And I just ignore. But then after Africa, I got bad temper and I show finger. So for a year, I didn't show finger, finger. I hate slangs and, if I sing some bad word, like FUCK in the song, I delete. I don't like to listen bad word. But if you did bad thing, I show. And then, so my character is a bit changed. Like if you bother me, I must show finger. And even these days, I'm doing the same. Like when I was just like a few weeks ago, I drank and came a bit late. I was on the street and some guys making, whistle or something. Just in a second, I show fingers and shout. And then just they're gone. Yeah. This is how I do it. Yeah.
So it's like Elif said, confront them and then they're like, oh, okay. They go away.
But also there's a thin line. You don't know if it is sexual harassment or anything, because if you realize if you get into an airplane or public transportation, this is how we sit, right? Or we sit like this. Men are just like...
Oh, the man spreading.
So I don't know.
I had that on the plane just now coming to Penang. This guy next to me was like that. And he's like 3 times my size and his arm was like that. And I'm like, as it is, I'm not that small, because I'm just like, I have to like make myself as small as possible. In the end, I'm like, screw this. Took out my iPad and I just jabbed his elbow because I'm like, he doesn't get the message.
Yeah, it is all like this. And
like what?
I don't
so
know
precious is it?
Yeah.
Cannot touch the thighs. Like what?
Yeah, exactly.
I hate men spreading. Okay, now I know. Terpesong to another place pula. Okay, all right. Okay. What is the advice that you would give to the women who want to travel and if they were facing sexual harassment?
I think there are smart ways to play around. It is like, of course, adventures and everything. But for example, when I was traveling in India, I never took the train or the bus at night time. I would always do my travel, even though it is you lose time instead of saving time. I would always do it in the mornings. And for the bus or the trains, I would always get an economy plus kind of ticket because it's not that different. It is like 5 rupee kind of difference. So I would try to play my things around that. And I always had a pepper spray with me. Don't use it if it is not the last call. It burns everyone's eyes. They emptied the train wagon because of me. That like babies were crying. I felt horrible, but it happened. And knife or anything that's too aggressive, I wouldn't carry with me. Even though it sounds like a defense thing, they can use it against you, and you don't want to end up killing someone or hurting someone, because it's either going to get them more aggressive or it's going to put you in a really difficult situation in a country you don't belong. So paper spray is a nice one to use. I heard that some people use the electro one, the ones police has.
Yeah, the tasers.
Yeah, the tasers, yes. So those kind of more passive self-defense things would be better than a knife. And yeah, always travel during daytime. Yeah,
daytime, yes. And where India is concerned, I still have family there. And my uncle was telling me, because I was going to go to Sarojini Nagar, which is a famous marketplace. And I was going to wear sleeveless. It's like summer, right? And he said, this is Delhi. He said, it's not Bombay. He said, they're a little bit more conservative here. You may not want to wear your shorts for this one. Or if you want to wear your shorts, make sure it's below the knee. Because in Delhi, it's a bit different from Bombay. So yeah, always go to TripAdvisor, take a look at what other women have to say as well. Because it always is better to be a little bit more cautious. What about you, Petrina? What's your advice to women?
One thing I had to learn, which I believe Kelly mentioned yesterday as well, is sometimes being rude is necessary. Because myself as well, I find it so hard to be rude to a person. So someone comes and talks to me, and I just entertain the person, la 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 la, until he gets the wrong idea or he thinks he can make a move or whatever, and then I still find it so hard to just be like, go away. So yeah, that's still something I struggle with.
Call
and I hope-
Jin, because Jin now can show
Yeah,
the finger.
exactly. Yeah,
Yes.
so I need to learn from her to
Yeah.
just be
Yeah.
like, yes.
Ask Jin, Skype,
So-
Skype, Jin, Snapchat the finger now.
So yeah, everyone should learn how to be rude when necessary. Once you feel that it's getting uncomfortable, get out of there or just yell at the fella.
And Jin, what's your advice? So maybe other women who want to cycle around Asia or around Malaysia or even around the world.
But it's not only about bicycle, but I have a similar opinion that don't be too kind. I'm sorry, but I don't trust people 100%, especially male. I'm sorry. But this is how I protect myself over 6 years. That, like, I try not to be kind all the time, that physically, mentally, I try to have some distance. And many times, actually, I slept in only solo male guy's house, but I didn't have such an accident, because I make sure I have some distance. So when I talk, I don't go very close.
Right. So you leave space.
A little bit space.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I try to be kind, but not too kind. Not to smile all the time, because if you smile all the time, then men can misunderstand. Oh, it means yes. So make sure, not to be kind. And
Do what you need to do. Get out of there if you find that, there's someone who's trying to get into your space.
Yeah.
Yep, okay.
In some countries, I don't even smile when I'm hitchhiking, which is, yeah, because the moment you smile already, they're like, oh, she wants me. So yeah, there's a fine line as well. Like, where is
Okay,
friendly,
wait.
where
So
is
now
not?
the question
It's
is,
hard.
if you don't smile and you give, sorry, but in Malaysia they have this term called cock face, right? Okay, so you
What's
give
it?
cock face, who's gonna give you a ride?
That's the thing, it really depends on the country. So in some countries where, yeah, the man would easily mistake your smile as an invitation, I think those types, as long as you are female, they will stop the car anyway. Or, yeah, I don't know. Or maybe smile, but just like a,
Like a tight
but not in a,
Cannot do
Yeah.
the Tyra Banks smiles.
Yeah, you
Don't
can't be
smiles
too-
with your eyes. Wrong attention. Okay, smile, don't show teeth.
yeah. Yeah, polite.
Yeah,
polite.
like over Botox like that. Okay, all right. Okay, we have time for like 2 questions. That's it, because I think I've got only 5 minutes left, right? Yeah. How many minutes? 5 minutes, betul. Okay. Yes.
I just wonder, you are talking about traveling and you're talking about sexual harassment, which is, I would say, is a very good thing, information for us. But how do you all tackle if like, you go to a country where, shall we say, Bangkok or Thailand, you've been hearing all these things about drugs and all these things. How do you tackle when you get into that situation?
As in if someone spikes your drink, or...
Yes, someone spikes a drink.
Oh,
or
there
maybe-
are ways to do that actually. Like Pris and myself and Elif, we've got a workshop at 3:30 where we're going to be talking about things like that.
Oh, okay.
And the golden rule, Pris taught me this as well. We travel together quite often. If you leave your drink and you need to go to the restroom, come back, don't touch it. Don't touch it. There was a time also in KL, my own sister also kena one time. They used to use IMO.
I know.
Please don't record and put until I don't want to get sued by IMO. But anyway, I'm just saying that putting eye drops into drinks can also knock you out. So if you're gonna leave your drink, even though there's like 3/4 left, don't think about the 10 ringgit or 20 ringgit that you pay. Alia, kiasu, I want to finish the drink. But the thing is, you've left your drink. It's not safe. Just don't touch it.
Okay, drink is another avenue of it, but what about other things that people, you've been hearing this, like touching, touching you a bit also, you get with this kind of spell when you travel. How does one, avoid that?
For me, I would just never allow a stranger to get close enough for me that they can touch me. But what about you ladies?
She has the finger. We know that.
I don't think the finger is...
And
It's
actually,
the
I
magic
shout.
finger, y'all. It's the magic finger. Yes.
I shout, yeah, actually.
Shout.
I shout.
Okay.
Because when you're in a different country, it's not only one person. It could be a accomplice, a group of them.
Yes.
You
I've been to Romania where there are gypsies and 10 of them will surround you, and before you know it, your backpack is open, they've cut it open, they've run off with your wallet, your phone, everything. So yeah, there are some countries where they actually work, there are gangs of them. But like I said, you have to be extremely mindful of where you are. And I was the kind who, I would just like take my handbag and then I just go off walking on my own, even though I've never been to that city before. But I've learned that if I want to do that, it better be in the daytime and it better be in a place that has a lot of people. If it's going to be a remote place, then I go with someone or not at all.
Okay, thank you
I
very much.
actually keep all my valuables, everything in a hidden pouch under my clothes. So whatever that I have
Pris
over
does that
me,
too, yes.
yeah, it's like if you want to steal it, fine, go ahead. I don't think it's going to mean anything to anyone.
I know
Yeah.
some people who put it in their shoe, they put some in their shoe, they put some in their bra, they put some in the you know, there's a belt that you can wear underneath your shirt and you put in your pocket and then you put some in your bag.
Yeah.
Okay,
All
thank
this like
you very
5,
much.
6 different places.
I have to let them have some chance already. Thank you
Yes.
very much.
Because you mentioned pepper spray, you mentioned knife, keeping things like this to keep ourselves safe. But when we are traveling to different places, for example, especially planes, I know that they have restrictions on what things that we can bring, even when we do carry luggages. There are certain things that we are not allowed to bring on the plane. There are certain things that we are not allowed to bring on when we enter certain countries. So if, let's say my pepper spray is confiscated, what are the things that we can do hands-on that maybe we can prepare ourselves, even as we travel in different places locally, maybe something that we can make ourselves to keep ourselves safe? Is there any suggestions like that?
Ladies?
Chili pepper in your pocket. Chili pepper powder. But just then make sure don't go and rub your eye after that lah.
Ah. So you go Domino's Pizza, keep all those packets. They're already in packets, then you can just... Elif?
I think if you are in a daytime, a little bit public place, I would scream. That happened to me. I was with my mom in Turkey, and they were just threatening us, and it was inside our house because they got inside, but their securities or their other neighbors, right, and they didn't think that I was going to scream. And I just started screaming out on top of my lungs, and they got a bit scared, thinking that I went crazy. And security and neighbors heard it, and running is always a good option, but that chili sounds good to me. Like I'm gonna do it from now on too. Yeah.
There's also those little alarms that you can carry. You can carry that, you know, in your carry-on luggage. You press that button, it's really loud, you know, and you have that on you as well.
Another thing I read, if you're hitchhiking, pretend that you're gonna puke or something, just be like really disgusting, then they might stop the car so that you can go out and puke outside.
When I hitchhike in Canada, I always stop that if driver bother me, I use 2 fingers to his eyes. I always think of a finger.
It's very like Walking Dead already.
And you know what? The point is that if something the point is that be relaxed. If something will happen, I'll do something as well.
Yeah. No.
Let's see.
This is true. My mother always told me this as well. She forced me to take taekwondo actually when I was 17, 18, you know, and I was a bit late. All my sparring partners were like 9 years old, 10 years old. But no, it's really important to actually know basic self-defense. It's not just because you're going to travel, but for your own safety as well. We do have a self-defense class with Anne happening later, right? Yeah. So that would be quite handy to know. Yeah. Dato, you had last question.
It's a comment, I guess, and a question. I think what comes across, and it's not just about traveling, but also at home, is that whether it's sexual harassment or whatever, it's violence against women is about power, and it's about perceiving you as being weaker and more vulnerable, and that's why they do it. If you're on a bicycle, they know you can't do much, so yeah, very easy to reach out and grab you, right? And it seems to me that we need to change that perception about that powerlessness. So when you get aggressive, that puts them off, you know, because women are not supposed to be aggressive and not supposed to fight back. And so I guess the one main lesson is fight back, you know, just defy the stereotype that you yourself have about women, right? But the one question I have to ask is that we kind of know all these things. I mean, yours are very specific experiences and things, but we kind of know all these things. But I still hear about a lot of particularly young women who still get themselves into situation. And I can say that when I was young, me too, I got myself into a situation which, like, why did I do that? You know, I mean, I didn't get into serious trouble, but I could have. And what is it that you know, despite knowing, we still, what is that thing that we need to overcome to make sure that we are really, I mean, you know, we're not here to scare everybody, right? Because fear is also disempowering. We've heard that over many times. But how do we keep reminding women, especially young women, of things they actually already know, you know, and not to get into the situation? I mean, if there's any answer to that, I don't know.
I actually wrote an article for ZafigoX about this too, how fear gets into us. Because sexual harassment when you are traveling, it's gonna happen. Like, not that it's gonna physically happen, but there are going to be situations you put yourself in, or men try to take advantage of it. Because at the end of the day, you are traveling and you want to believe in the kindness of strangers. And for my experience, 90% of the people I met on the road were nice and kind people. The 10% I had horrible experiences with. And if I had to make a judgment call because of the experiences I had with that 10%, that would be such a shame, because I know that all those 90% of the people I met, I cherish them so much, I still talk to them. And if I think now, next time I travel, if I don't travel because of the horrible ones, I won't get to meet people like those ones now, that I call brothers and sisters because they are so close to me. So, and it's not only traveling, sexual harassment, like I said, in my mom's house. The truck drivers helping us to carry the furniture, when they saw we were two women, they tried to take advantage of the situation. So it can happen in your own house as well. So limiting yourself to your room is not going to help either. Like, you can get pizza delivery and it can happen. So you need to think of it, pros and cons, and not to focus on the bad thing. I know this happened, and I know this guy was disgusting, and it made me, like, it hurt. But also think about all the people you met, all the places you've seen, and how empowered you feel because you overcame all those 10% of horrible people, and you will plan your next ticket, next trip. So
True.
I think that's the thing.
Petrina, do young women have a false sense of security when they travel? Are we so infatuated with our friends' Instagram posts and the wonderful travels that they have that we feel nothing bad can ever happen to us, and so we let our guard down? Is that what's happening?
I don't think so. I think as women, we almost always have our guards up. Especially, I would say, people from KL. Like, when people tell me it's so dangerous places you're going, I'm like, no, man, to me, KL is the most dangerous. Like, I'm always just... So I think we are always cautious, but yeah, I just like Elif said, I've come to realize that I cannot judge a person based from the beginning. Because sometimes I think the person's good and then it turns out to be complete opposite. Sometimes I think the person looks super dodgy and then he ends up to be really nice. So a lot of times...
You've met some of my ex-boyfriends then? Sorry, it's just a light moment.
So
Kidding.
a lot of times I'm just like, you know what, I'm just gonna give him the benefit of the doubt, and the whole time I'll just think of an escape plan. If I need to get out of there, I get out of there. But yeah, if I go in constantly just like, no, I can't trust this person, I can't trust that person, I won't get anywhere. So just gotta deal with it when it happens lah.
And Jin,
Yeah.
have you met other young women who also want to, I'm sure women have come up to you and say, okay, I want to cycle as well, what do I do?
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you tell them, hey, you know, you've got to be really careful, or?
So maybe I'll give some caution, like, so sexual harassing happen everywhere, all over the world, in my country, in United States, whatever, in Europe. But some country, it can happen a bit easily in a few countries, and maybe I'll tell this list. Like, you have to be careful in this country because this is more like man word that it's not common. Solo girl, walking on the streets. So maybe be careful. Maybe I'll tell a few countries. And I have I want to tell one thing that sexual harassing happen, and I usually report to the police. And of course, people say, oh, you cannot catch. Or the thing is that they said, you cannot change. But okay, I know I cannot change, but at least I want to tell people this is wrong. So I always report if I can. And actually one time, when I got sexually harassed in Turkey, I reported him and I found him because there was camera on gas station, and then we catch him and he apologized. So that also gave me another, like, okay, let's report, yeah.
Thank you very, very much to all our panelists. A huge round of applause, please, for our women travelers who shared their stories today. I can't summarize it better than what Dato' Marina has already said, but you know, as words to part with, like, if you want to travel and if you are going alone, do a lot of research on the country that you're about to go to. Find out what is safe to do, what's not safe to do, especially if you're a woman traveler. Just to give you information, women-only travel clubs have increased around the world by 300% in just 1 year. So there are a lot of companies now doing women-only travel groups as well. So stay safe, don't be discouraged by our scary stories. And yes, you know, you can catch up with the speakers as well during lunchtime. So once again, thank you to Jin, Petrina, and also Elif. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Kudsia.